Hey guys, episode 3 here of the Caddy Corner here on the Scratch Golf Show. If you like Feely, Alex Goggart, we have his brother, Austin Goggart, caddy for Ryan Moore. Austin, thanks for joining the show, man. Really excited to do this one. Looking forward to it.
Hey, thanks for having me. Should be pretty exciting. I don't know if I can fill his shoes. Trying to chase him this year playing golf. He's been playing some
Yeah,
really good golf, but I don't know if I could beat him right now, but I'd
yeah. I
love to tee
mean,
it up against him. We'll see what happens.
61, 64 Minnesota PGA is pretty impressive. 61's pretty deep, man. I don't know if I can. That's just
I
a whole
don't
different kind of
care.
game.
I don't care what course you're playing, but when you make 20 birdies or whatever it was, he made one bogey and
Yeah,
he was 19 under par for 2 rounds.
yeah.
I don't care what course you're playing. That's
That's unreal,
impressive.
man. Yeah, no letting anyone poke holes in that. Anyway, before we get into the video today, I wanted to present our sponsor of the video of episode 3 of the Caddy Corner, Slack Tide Apparel. And instead of me doing an ad read, we'll present it over to Austin. Do you want to tell the people about Slack Tide, where they can go, what you guys do, and then we'll get into the actual questions today.
Yeah, perfect. Slack Tide Apparel is just a clothing company that me and a couple buddies here in Lake Geneva made. Slack tides when you're in between high and low tide in the ocean, when the ocean's at peace. So what we try to do is make some clothing to make everybody have a great time, laid back, kind of similar to a Jimmy Buffett theme. Very great for fishing. Starting to get a bunch of caddies to start wearing it. It's SPF 50, like the hoodie I'm wearing here. And then we made some hats, and then we got some thicker hoodies with fall coming up. But just head to slacktideapparel.com. And if you type in GOGS15, GOGS my nickname, GOGS15, we'll get you 15% off. So
Absolutely. We'll link everything in the description if you guys want to check out Slack Tide. I will say I am a customer of it. I bought my mom the crew neck sweater. She just received it actually yesterday before she went on her Europe trip today. She's a big fan, loved it. I know my dad's going to probably get some fishing apparel, but we're big in here in the lake life in Michigan, and we love to shed light on the caddy. So if you guys want to check out slacktide apparel.com, like I said, we'll link it in the description, and thank Austin for the 15% off. Anyway, man,
thanks,
so
guys.
yeah, absolutely. So let's jump into it, dude. We're really excited to have you. Like I said, we just had your brother on a couple weeks ago. This is super cool. But let's just start with how you got started in caddying. I know you've had a bunch of different bags, which we'll get into later in the episode. But just how'd you get your start in caddying, and how'd you get your start in golf?
So I started in caddying. I had a buddy that we grew up playing junior golf with, Jordan Nieberge. Great player. Still to this day, one of the most talented players I've ever caddied for. Out of like the guys I've caddied full time for, I probably have about 5 or 6 full timers that I've
Yeah.
caddied for. But Jordan was a couple years younger than me. He played at Oklahoma State. When he was 20, he asked me. I was working as an assistant pro down in Highland Park at Northmore Country Club. He asked me. He said he got a sponsor's invite to the John Deere. He goes, "Hey, do you want to come caddy for me with the John Deere?" I'm like, "Sure, sounds awesome."
Yeah.
We went to the John Deere. We finished like 20th or 24th, I think. I think it was
Yeah.
24th. And it was like, holy smokes, like it was sweet. And I was like, I mean, inside the ropes, there's a lot of people watching. We played with Charlie Belgian on the weekend,
Oh yeah.
and Ricky Romano was his caddy at the time, who now caddies for Ricky Fowler. So
Yeah.
like he's always been super nice to me ever since that day. So I've always kind of seen him as a friend, Ricky Romano,
Yeah.
that is. And then 2 years after that, he finished sixth or a year after that, he
Yeah.
finished sixth
St.
at the British
Andrews,
Open
huh?
as an AM when Zach Johnson won in, I think that was 15.
He was in the final group with Louis, right? Way back in the day.
Who? Zach Johnson?
No, Jordan, wasn't he?
Jordan, no, Jordan played with Sergio the
Oh,
last round.
Sergio. Okay.
Shot like 6 under the last round when I played like really hard. It's like if you ever remember it, like Paul Dunn was like in the
Yeah.
last group, I think, with Louis.
Okay.
And
I
Paul
remember.
Paul didn't play his best day, but
Yeah.
Jordan played really nice and kind of like silently moved from like 20th to like sixth.
Yeah.
I was obviously won low medal there for low am and
Yeah.
played along Sergio. He said it was sick, and it was like kind of
That's
raining a
awesome.
little bit. It wasn't the greatest day, and he just played really nice. So then the next year, he got 6 starts on the PGA Tour. Same with John Rahm, same year, and
Yeah.
so I started caddying from there. We played like 6 events. We missed the cut like by like one in like 4 or 5 of the events. Like it was so
Yeah.
close. Felt like we were on the cut line like the whole summer. It was a grind of a summer. It kind of knocked us a little bit on in the teeth because we thought like we're just like going to go out and start smoking these guys. And then we went
Yeah.
down to the Corn Ferry. We went down to the Corn Ferry for a couple years. While we were on the Corn Ferry, a friend of mine, Casey Danielson, who was ladies, she missed Q school, so she said, I'm going to go play ladies European tour. So she invited me to work with her when Jordan was off. So I kind of did
Yeah.
both of them at the same time while working an assistant pro job at in Madison at the time at Blackhawk Country Club. So the members and the pros were all really nice. Like, hey, I'm gonna be gone for the next like 3 weeks. You guys,
Yeah.
I'll come back and then I'll work. And but it was fun. But that's kind of how I started. And then I was still trying to play at the time. So I was trying to play and just using the caddy money to caddy, and I was learning a ton, obviously, through
Yeah.
the way Jordan played, through the way Casey played. You know, everybody that I've caddied for, I've tried to like learn something or find a way to caddy better and play
Yeah.
better in the sense. Like, I mean, you're always learning in this life, so I always try to adapt that with my job too.
Yeah.
So after Casey was still playing, and then Jordan had actually lost his Corn Ferry Tour card, and I'm like, you know what? Let's see what I got. And I was kind of playing okay at the time. It was 2020 February. I go to Canada Q School, and it was like raining sideways. The weather was
Yeah.
so bad down in San Antonio in February. I had a couple of buddies that were supposed to caddy for me from college. Like one of them didn't even show up to like the eighth hole. Like he's like, dude, the weather was so bad. I didn't even think you guys were playing. I'm like, dude, you like left me out here.
Are you still friends with this guy? I'm genuinely curious.
Yeah. They're two of my like, they're two great buddies. I see them every year when we go down there for the
Nice.
Valero. Like, they're great guys. Clayton
Yeah.
Lyons, Elliot Cahalo, like awesome dudes. And then another buddy of mine that I actually ended up staying with now is Caleb Rieger. So he caddied for me, which like he knew the course inside and out. It was really fun.
Yeah.
But I ended up missing by like I think 2 or 3 shots to get like conditional status up in Canada, and I was like, all right, like what am I gonna do? And didn't really have a job. I could have caddied for Casey. There wasn't a ton of money in it, but she wasn't starting for like another like 2 months. So I was like, all right. I called the caddy master at Augusta, and I was like, you know what? If I'm gonna caddy, like maybe I should really know this course. It'd be really fun to have some competitive advantage here.
Yeah.
So I talked to the guy. Like I got an in with a friend that connected me with him, and I go up there to. I called him, and he goes, hey, why don't you just hold off for like a week? There's like this virus and over in Asia, and I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's like, yeah, there's like, you haven't heard about this? And I'm like, maybe, kind of, but like, I mean, like you don't want me to start working because of that? And he's like, yeah, so just hold off. And like, literally, I got off the phone with him, and like, probably like within a day, I got a text, and it said, hey, I'm gonna play at Bay Hill. Do you want to caddy for me for a week? And I'm like, I'm sorry, who is this? And he goes, it's Alex Noren. I got your number from my brother. I heard you're a really good player, like, and I want a good player on my bag, and so I want to see how that works out. I was like, I'd be happy to.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I mean, I'm poor. I'm pretty poor. As like, I wasn't poor, but like, I wasn't owning a house at this point. I was buying a car probably worth like $6,000 or $8,000. I was like, all right, fine.
Yeah.
Like, let's see how it works out. And I go and like I'm thinking like, oh, this is a chance, sweet. And he said he just needed me for 1 week.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, let's do this. And we ended up we missed the cut by like 4 or 5 at like Bay Hill, and I'm like, oh, son of a gun. But like Alex Noren, like he's so good. Like it was a sweet week for me because I've always been a fan of him. Like on his European Tour days, I've always been rooting for him. Like love the way he goes about his game. Like always keeps his head down. Very good mentally.
Grinder, man.
Yeah, absolute grinder. I mean, he just sat on the range all day, and that's like I was a big range rat growing up. Like I loved hitting balls in college and stuff. And he asked me at the end of the round, he goes, hey, I got to pay the locker room guy like $50 or $100, whatever it was. And he goes, do you have any cash on you? And I'm like, I got some in my car. He goes, oh, is the parking lot close? And at Bay Hill, like it's not. But I was like, yeah, it is. Yeah, I'll just go get it real quick. And he's like, oh, okay, great. So I sprint to my car. I mean, I'm sweating. Like I'm sprinting to my car.
Yeah.
Through the chipping green, all the way back onto my car, run to my car, like grab my wallet out of my car, grab him like, I don't know, $50 or $100, whatever it was.
Yeah.
I hand it to him. He pays the guy. He goes, I'll just pay you with your check, like whatever it is. And I was like, oh, okay. He goes, hey, thanks, man. I really enjoy that. And I was like, you know what? Can I ask you a question? And he goes, yeah, sure. What's up? And I kind of asked him like, hey, what are you doing? Like, what are you trying to learn by doing like your pre-shot routine? Like, why did you do this on hole like 7 and like or just random things? And we ended up talking in the parking lot of Bay Hill just outside the locker room for like 45, 50 minutes.
Yeah.
And at the end of the conversation, he goes, hey, like, do you want to work the next 2 weeks? Like, I don't really know what's going to go on with like this virus thing. And I'm like, I'd love to. Like, so we were going
Yeah.
to go to the Dominican Republic and Valspar.
Yeah.
And at the time, he was like 126 to 150. Like, I didn't even know what that meant. Like, I was just like, oh, it's
Yeah.
Alex Morin. Like, he's great. Like, whatever. He's going to have a card forever. Let's try to
Yeah.
get a job for 10 years. And like, little did I know. Little did I know. And so I was like, I'm going to go help my brother and Fred, Eric
Yeah.
Van Ryn, at
Yep.
the Players because I had played there in college. We used to go down there in college and they had never seen the course before. And I'm like, hey. And so I went up there and walked like Tuesday and Wednesday. And he's like, when you finish with them, why don't you drive down to Jupiter and we'll practice? I'm
Yeah.
like, okay. So I had my car down there because I was playing winter events down there myself,
Yeah.
down in Florida, living with Gerald and June Stilling. They're like 80 years old. I'd stayed with them for like 4 or 5 winters. It was so fun.
Yeah.
So I drive down there in my car and I'm like, all right, sweet. So me and Alex practiced for like 12 hours. Like I was in heaven. And he's like, I'll even pay you to practice with me. I'm like, this is the best life ever.
That's
I
awesome.
practiced golf. He paid me like, I don't know, I don't even know what it was, like 100, 200 bucks, 300
Yeah.
bucks a day, whatever it was. And I'm like, this is the best ever. I'm practicing at the Bears Club for like 12 hours. And all I
Yeah.
got to do is ever so often, he's like, hey, can you take a video? What do you think? Where's my line? And like easy stuff. I'm like, this is the best.
Yeah.
So I practiced with him a few days and like they cancel the Players after
On
Thursday.
Friday.
They're
Yeah.
like,
That's
hey,
perfect.
we're gonna shut down the tour for like 2 weeks. And I was like, okay. And so Eric Van Rooyen lives down there, obviously a very good friend with my brother and him, best friends.
Yeah.
Me and Eric have become good friends. I'm like, hey, like, and I was staying at his house while I was down there. I'm like, hey, do you mind if I like fly home and just leave my car at your place?
Yeah.
Like, I'll be back in 2 weeks because we're going to start the tour over again and I'm going to go caddy for Alex.
Right.
He goes, no, like, I think you should actually go home quick. So just leave your car in our driveway. Like, I mean, I got everything I own in my car,
Yeah.
like all my golf stuff, like everything. I took my clubs with me.
Yeah.
But like I had all my suitcases, like all my extra gloves, all my extra balls. Like, I mean, all I had was like my winter clothes at home. Luckily, it was April.
Yeah.
So I fly home, and little do I know, I'm going to end up at home for like 2 months
Right.
staying with my parents. So I set up like a little practice range in I grabbed this like AstroTurf, put it on the driveway, was
Yeah.
like chipping around the front yard for like 2 months.
Dude,
It was so fun.
I remember those days, man. I remember like COVID shut down. I was, obviously don't do this full time. I work from my house, but like I still remember those days. Like I had friends in Chicago because I was living in Chicago at the time. I had friends coming down for St. Patty's Day that weekend. The Players
Yeah,
shut down Friday. My buddies and I went out Saturday, and that Monday the world shut down. And then I
yeah.
moved back to
Like
Michigan.
you guys were the reason the world shut down. Like that's
Yeah,
what people say. They're like, "Oh, Chicago's still having St. Patrick's Day."
yeah.
Everybody's like, "Oh, it's fine." Everybody was like
Well,
blaming
because
you
at the
guys because all
time
my
no one
buddies,
knew.
yeah, all my buddies went down there too. I'm like, I'm blaming you guys. No, I'm just kidding. It's just a joke.
Dude, and then it's so funny. I came back to Michigan at the time, and little did I know, I ended up moving back here. That like basically that week, like you said, the world shut down for 2 months. We had no idea, and then,
Yeah.
dude, that was a wild time. Anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I apologize.
No, you're good. So then, like, they said the tour was going to shut down for like a month,
Yeah,
and I was like, "Oh no!" I just had this great opportunity at a job. Like, I just like this virus is going to cost me what I've kind of always kind of wanted to do,
yeah,
like or always thought I was going to be good at. Like if I wasn't good enough to play, I'm like I would love to caddy. Like it's
right,
still in the game. It's competitive. Like I think it's one of the best jobs in the world.
yeah,
Like
for sure.
it's so fun. Like I think a lot of times, not a lot of times, but I think there's times that I take it for granted and like don't realize like how 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 great it is. I mean, yes, there's stuff that's very very hard about it, but Alex called me like when that happened, and he goes, "Hey, I just want you to know, like, I want you to caddy for me like full time. So when we get out of this, like, you're gonna caddy for me." And that was
That's awesome.
dude, I was amped for like 2 months. I had like five. I think my net worth was like $5,000, and I couldn't wait to go work. And I've never
Yeah,
been. I'm like, I just want to golf. Like,
I love that, dude.
we'll see. So it
I'm
was really nice. Like
proud of it.
he's salt of the earth. That guy. He's awesome and
Yeah,
took a chance with me. We went from the 126, 150 category, made it all the way to the second playoff event that year.
oh
We finished like eighth at Boston. He went on an absolute heater to finish out the year.
yeah,
Like the second week back, he finished like 18th at Hilton Head.
yeah,
They played the RBC, and I made. I mean, I think I made like I don't know, I made like $10,000. I literally thought I was rich. Like it was
Just
so
load.
sick. I'm like, this is the best job ever, which
I
it
love that,
is.
dude.
So it was so cool. And
Yeah,
then he went on a heater at the end of the year, which was so fun. Made a nice run in the playoffs and
yeah,
finished like 17th, 20th in some majors. And then kind of ever since then, people kind of saw like what I guess I helped him do, you know, as
yeah,
much as Caddy's help, you know. But so then after that, I caddied for like Kyle Stanley for like 8 to 10 months, and
yeah.
then caddied for Austin Smotherman for like 14 months, and then now
Nice.
I've been with Ryan. No, me and Ryan just had our 1 year anniversary
Yeah,
last week at Napa, so
yeah.
I've
It's
been
funny
like kind
that.
of on a year. I've been like on a year cycle pretty much with a couple players, so
Yeah,
it's been fun. It's different, obviously, than my brothers. I mean, he's caddied for the
Eric.
same guy for
Yeah,
like six
forever.
years, and
Right.
I mean, he's filled in once or twice for other guys, but he's never like switched employers, I guess.
Right. Yeah, it's funny. Our first two guests, nothing against you, but our first two guests have had the same player the whole time. Obviously, we had Alex on, and then Derek, being Denny's caddy, our
Yeah.
last guest, have had. And it's weird. It's a job where you can be stable, right? If you get the good player. I mean, you obviously seen the relationships, whether it's Phil and Bones, Tiger and Stevie, whatever, Spieth and
Yeah, you
Greller.
look at Xander, you look at Xander,
Yeah,
you look
Tanner and
at,
Austin
there's a
Kaiser.
lot of guys.
Yeah. Hey, him and Austin. I mean, good for. I mean, I know Xander and Austin are have been around forever, college teammates. Good for them for having a great year. I mean, Austin is a really, really good caddy. I think Xander has credited a lot to him for him improving, and good for Austin. Austin's a really good dude. I'm a big fan of those two.
Yeah, I mean, I look at some of the things like back in my career, and I look at like some of my old yardage books, or like things like when I went back to the John Deere like 5 years after, I was like, what am I doing? Like, what was I doing in 22nd?
Yeah,
Like, how did we finish 22nd? He was just that good,
yeah,
right? You know,
yeah,
and like I mean, sometimes there's the golf's such a funny game like that. Sometimes less is more in this game. Like, if you
yeah,
try too hard, sometimes you're not gonna fully get it done. But
yeah,
if you kind of let the game come to you, it's a little easier sometimes to.
yeah. So, how'd you get started with Ryan? Was it kind of just you guys had known each other, or he'd put you
His
in front?
his agent was like, "Hey, Ryan really wants you to work for him." I'm like, I feel like Ryan's never said a word to me. Like, I have no idea. Like, I've always been said hi, and like
Yeah,
I've known him if he's been in our group. It's like, hey, man, nice pod, like whatever. And
yeah,
he said he really likes the way you like behave on the golf course. He likes your like demeanor and stuff like that, which I think some guys maybe are drawn to when they see it.
yeah.
Ryan's very laid back, very chill. And like when his agent called me, he goes, "Hey, dude, Ryan just wants somebody to carry the bag, talk to in between shots, and then just like read a couple putts." I'm like, okay,
Easy
like I
enough.
can do that. Yeah,
That's
Ryan's been out here for 20 straight years. I
I
mean,
know,
it's one of
which
the
is
most
wild.
impressive things. It's one of the most impressive things in golf that goes like people have no idea like how
Keeping your
good
card
that
that long
is.
is not easy.
Yeah, I mean, because he went straight from college straight to the tour because he played like 6 events, got temporary status, and bang.
Yeah,
Like
we played the
the guy's never played a Corn Ferry event.
which is wild. He played
Yeah,
the Masters way back when he won the USAM, right? Or he played well
yeah,
in the
dude,
US.
he won every amateur tournament for
Yeah,
like a whole summer. He like won nationals in like May. Then he
yeah,
won like the Western Am, the Pub Links, the USAM, like another one. Like I mean,
yeah.
I think his record in like 2004 or 2005 in match play is like 16-0, playing
Unreal.
against like the best college kids and AMs
Yeah,
across the country slash world. I was like, sure, yeah,
yeah.
seems pretty
He's
good.
he's funny. I think I told you when we were here in Detroit, I caddied in like a skins game that week out at Western, which is my old club that I kind of grew up at. I got some buddies there. They needed some caddies, so I naturally. And he was on the range. I didn't realize who he was, because a lot of these guys you don't realize like what they look like on camera, like in person, right? And so I was
Yeah.
like, "Hey, do you need your clubs clean?" I was like, "That's Ryan Moore." Ironically enough, he probably doesn't even remember me, but I think I call him Mr. Moore, which I'm 30. I shouldn't be calling him Mr. But regardless, so what's your all's relationship like? I mean, obviously your brother and Fred are best friends, and they have that kind of when we had him on, he said they kind of have that honesty relationship. How do you and Ryan interact on the course? What's your guys' process like? And talk to me through that.
So Ryan has very good like control over what he's doing. Like his ball doesn't get away from him. He's always
Yeah,
been a very very straight hitter. I think I want to say we were like fourth in fairways hit this year, so he definitely does a good job of like keeping the ball in front of him. And
yeah,
he's not gonna bomb and gouge a place. It's very like okay, why don't we plunk one over here and then we'll plunk one over here. His iron game is very, very dialed. Wedge game's great. Chips it really good. So he's so good. Like the only thing that he really needs is he'll be like, all right, you kind of feeling like this club goes like 135 here this week. Like we got 130, so you just like taking 5 yards off this
Yeah.
and landing it right on the hole. Yeah, okay, perfect. I love that. Like when he's playing really, it's kind of like with any player though. Like when they're playing really well, they're pretty much just telling you what they're gonna do,
And you
which is
disagree
really
with him?
good. Yeah, and like I mean that's basically when you say like Caddy's like the shut up part of like keep up, shut up, and stay up. It's
Yeah.
like what are the three like shut up, keep up, and something else like that. I don't
Yeah.
know what it is, but like that's pretty much where you're just like shutting up. You're like, yep, yep. You turn into like yes man. You're like yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's how like the beginning of our relationship in the fall was. Like he finished like 13th at Vegas, finished 5th at Bermuda, and like 8th at RSM to keep his
Yeah.
card last fall when I started with him.
Yeah.
So it was like, I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
it was an
Good
amazing
run through
run,
the
but it was
fall.
just, I mean, there
Yeah.
was a lot of me just being like, yes, and like RSM was like the most nerve wracking final round of like my entire life because I actually knew it was like at stake now. And,
Yeah, to keep his card, yeah.
yeah, and like I was watching the board all day, and it's like, oh, projected 122, projected 124, projected 128. Okay, now we made a birdie down to 122. We're like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Had like a 3-footer on the last, and I think he knew it meant something. And I knew that we maybe would have been okay if we missed it, but I'm like, I don't even want to risk it. And he had
It's not gonna.
like a 2.5 footer. He goes, hey, what do you see this doing? And I'm like, what do you mean? What do I see this doing? Like it's dude, it's like dead straight. Just bury this thing right in the heart. He buried it in there, which was really funny.
Right.
He came over, I was smiling, I was like fist
That's
pumping on the
awesome,
side of the
dude.
green, finishing like 8th. The people in the stands were probably like, what is wrong with this kid?
Dude, that's
And
the
he
good
was
thing about
laughing.
golf, though. You're always fighting for something, whether it's
Oh, you're one shot away from something, whether it's
yeah,
a top 10, whether it's a top 20, whether it's getting into next week, whether it's
right,
getting in now, whether it's getting into an elevated. Like Ryan and
right.
I had to we had to play like the last 6 holes at San Antonio this year, like 1 under par to get into the next elevated event.
Oh, so you guys did play in a couple elevated events this year?
No, we had to
No.
play in 1 under, and we played it even.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
man.
we didn't play in one elevated this year, but we were close to being like the Aon top
Yeah,
5 for that one or whatever it
yeah.
was. But yeah, I mean Ryan's process is very laid back.
Interesting.
Where like it's been like with other players where it's like, hey, we got 123, let's hit our 127 shot into the wind here. We're gonna hope this lands like 125 and spins back to 123. But
Yeah,
Ryan's kind of like within a 5 yard increment, which is crazy because he's like the most accurate out of anybody I've probably caddied for.
yeah. That's
Where like,
awesome.
yeah, I mean, and I've worked for players where it's like you almost have to like kind of tell them like what to do. It's like, hey, we have 100 yards here into a 10-mile-an-hour wind. We got room behind this pin for it to spin. Let's hit Let's hit a 115 shot here.
Yeah,
He goes, all right, you like 115? I'm like, yes, I like 115. You feel that? And he's like, yeah, yeah, okay, perfect.
yeah,
So we're the
yeah,
every player's different, kind of beats to a little different drum, and like
yeah,
you like Ryan gives me total freedom because he's so like crafty and a veteran. Like he pretty much has his mind made up. He's like I tell him all the time. I'm like, you should feel like you're better at this than I am, right? Like
yeah,
you're in control. Like you're hitting the shot. You've done this. Like you were a great golfer for 19 years before you
yeah,
even met me, right? So
yeah,
like, I mean, you like I trust you, yeah, for sure. So there's
yeah,
a lot like where like when I caddied for Austin before Ryan, like he's a young guy. It's second year. Like I had more. That was the first time I'd worked for somebody that I had more experience on the PGA Tour than they
yeah,
had. So it was like, hey, dude, like this hole always plays super short.
yeah,
Like if you're in between 9 and 8, just hit 9. Just trust me on this. Just hit 9. Like I've been here. I've hit it over the green here 12 times with 3 different players. Like we're not going there.
yeah,
So
yeah,
like, and that was like, and that's hard for somebody who like maybe is a little bit more antsy or like Ryan had never been to Bermuda or RSM, and there was times at Bermuda I'm like, hey, dude, this shot plays really long. It's like over this water. I have no idea why, but like I know your hybrid can cover 205. Like I know it can. Will you
yeah,
please hit 3 wood for me and just hit it on the back part of the screen? Like, because I'm telling you right now, if we hit hybrid, I don't think it covers here because the shot plays so long. And like that was just a little thing that he never knew. He goes, "Okay, I trust you." And like hit 3-wood to like the middle of the green. I was like, "All right, perfect, sweet."
That's awesome, man. Caddies, I think, are some of the underappreciated people in golf. I know your
Ah,
brother.
dude, you have no idea how good the players are. Like, I think it gets hard. I was thinking about this like just the other day. I mean, you get so much. Even us, like being up close, we think these guys are like robots,
Yeah,
and they're so good at golf. Like like, I mean, I'm a decent player myself, but like
yeah.
they're so good at golf. Like
Well,
people ask me like, "Oh, could you could beat Ryan right now?" And I'm like, "No, I couldn't." Like
yeah,
Ryan might not be playing good, but like I'm not. I'm probably not going to shoot better than 2 over for 2 rounds at Napa. Like I'm not. I'm
right.
just not. If
I
I
mean,
played a 10 out of 10, I don't think I would.
you would have to pay your absolute best day. He would have to have his absolute worst day, I'm guessing. And I mean, I know you're a good player. You're like a +3, which we're going to get into here in a minute. But I think your brother talked about it, which is wild because obviously your brother, I mean, your brother is a very, very good player. Derek's a very, very good player. I mean, Derek holds his
Yeah,
handicap of like plus
I'm
six.
like right now the way those two are playing. I'm like by far the worst golfing caddy you've had on here.
Yeah. Well, we had Willie Wilcox on too, former tour guy, and then Dave Geese, who's also a good player. All you guys are fucking sticks, man. It's you guys. It's wild that like there's these guys like your brother who are these guys who are +6, +7, +8 who are just nowhere close to competing on tour, and it's just a testament to how good. And I don't think people realize it. People who watch golf from the outside, your average fan, like I realize it. I'm a +1. I know I'm nowhere fucking close to even sniffing your brother, let alone a PGA Tour. Like, I'm not gonna be like, yeah, oh, that course is, Memorial's easy. I'll go out and shoot 74 at Muirfield. I'd be lucky to break 90 at Muirfield. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Stuff like that.
like
Like people don't
especially
realize.
we'd be lucky to break like we'd be lucky to break 90 at Muirfield in like normal everyday member play. Like the greens are a little
Yeah,
softer, like the fairways are soft, everything's like green. Yeah, try playing it on a Sunday when you're like trying to you gotta hit a cut through the
concrete.
fairway on one. You
Yeah,
gotta hit like you gotta hold that fairway on 18 and it doesn't run through. You gotta hit like kind of like a chippy driver rather than
yeah,
like just trying to hit the fairway. Like I mean
which is wild
people
because
have no idea like how hard the courses get for these guys to
no,
play.
like when we had Derek on, he had talked about when obviously if you watch the 2023 Memorial, Denny lost in a playoff. Like there was no
Yeah.
spoilers, but he hit that drive down 18. It was not that bad of a drive, and that is one of, if not the hardest finishing holes on tour,
Oh
regardless.
yeah, it
And
is
with
so
the
easy to make
pressure
bogey
holding a
there.
lead,
Like it's like the easiest hole to make bogey of all time.
yeah, oh yeah, because you miss the fairway, you hit it right.
18 at Bay Hill could be up there too.
Yeah, that's true. And then I mean, I don't know what your opinion is 18 at Sawgrass, but that one's no picture.
18 at Sawgrass. I would say out of those three, I would say 18 at Sawgrass.
Probably the easiest.
I don't know. I mean, there's water there, so you can make a big number there,
Yeah,
right? Like, because you can punch it in there if you fan out off the right, and then you can
yeah,
punch it into the trees. I've done that before with Norman. That was bad.
yeah,
But I mean, Memorial, it's pretty easy. You can just make a bogey. Like
yeah,
the other two, like Bay Hill, I mean, there's been triples there. There's been triples on 18 at Sawgrass. Like,
yeah. Well, you missed
yeah.
the thing.
No,
And the thing that's
if
tough
you miss the
imaginable.
fairway, you just chip it out to like 100 yards, then you try to
Right.
chip it down.
And even then, that picnic, that's depending where that pin is, that green is no picnic to even hit that wet shot. And you bail in those back
Oh
bunkers, you're screwed. You miss right, you're screwed on the
no!
rocks.
You think about how many great birdies or pars Tiger made there to win
Yeah,
events. Like it's
yeah,
unbelievable.
yeah.
Like I wish the only reason I wish I was older is so that I could have appreciated Tiger more.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Now
I'm
being on the
100% in
courses
that
that
camp.
he played.
Yeah, I'm 100. I love watching his old highlights from like 2000, 2001. Just my favorite.
Yeah.
My favorite.
I mean, I was like 10 when he was like taking over the
Yeah,
world. And I was like,
exactly. I mean, we're
dude,
the same age, so
I don't
it's
know what's going on.
yeah. I wish
Yeah.
I would have appreciated it more. But anyways, let's talk and transition a little bit about you obviously have the hustler mentality. I mean, you kind of talked about it earlier about how you come from and you're somebody who essentially didn't have a ton of money to your name and kind of grind it out. I mean, I love that mindset, similar to kind of what I'm doing with the podcast now. But talk to me a little bit about ABG Ventures and Slack Tide and all your other businesses and kind of what you do there and the story behind ABG Ventures. And if you don't know what that is, we'll get into it. But I'll turn it over to you.
So ABG Ventures, a couple years ago, it was like my first or second year caddy, and Rico Hoey and his buddy was caddying for him. Forget who it was, but we were laughing going on the ferry one time, just making like acronyms about like AB something, like, and AB always stand for always be
Right.
like like we were like ABS, always be sauce and wedges, or like whatever. We were just laughing, Jordan. So and one of the times I was like, dude, just ABG, just always be grinding. So
I
people think
love
it's my people like are like, what's your middle name? And I'm like, it's James. It does not start with a B. So
that.
like ABG Ventures, everybody's like, oh, that's Austin's initials, and it's like, no, it's not.
No.
So people who really know me know it's like always be grinding
Always be
ventures is what
grinding.
it stands for.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I probably started at a young age. I mean, my brother and I, my dad was the head pro at the local muni.
Yeah.
Here in town, it was like $9 to like walk 9 holes. It was super great little place, very homey, and so then my mom did the flowers around the course.
Nice.
So my brother and I had these two Power Ranger chairs where we sat in the back of like, like the utility vehicles that you
Yeah.
drive around. Like,
Yeah.
so we had these two Power Ranger chairs, and the guy had a blue one and he had a pink one because he was always nuts.
I'd pay to
So
see
we
that.
used to go, and my dad cut down like a little wooden driver, and we used to hit balls back and forth together, and we'd usually end up fighting against each other. So we fought until we were like 18. Now we're like best
Yeah.
friends. Um,
Like any normal brothers would.
yeah, but he'll tell you too. He was such a pissant. Like he was such an annoying brother. Like he was so bad. Like he was the one like always getting in trouble.
Yeah.
Like always getting in trouble, like having to stay after school, like lunch detention, like
Yeah.
getting kicked off of teams for doing something stupid or getting in trouble in class. Like my parents, when the school called, like they never thought it was me. Like it never was.
Yeah.
Like it was always him. So like I mean, he was just annoying, always trying to get under my skin, and he did.
Yeah.
And so then we went to college. He went to college, grew up a little bit, and now we're like best friends. I mean,
Yeah.
could call him a bunch of different ways, but so yeah, it probably started like the grinding. Probably started like my parents weren't like overly wealthy, like kind of what most people think you have to be in golf. Like
Yeah.
I actually won a couple tournaments like as a 17 or 18-year-old that got me into an AJGA event. Like, and I couldn't go. Like we just didn't have the money to
Yeah.
go, which was fine. I mean, I was just I was going to college anyways, and like I
Right.
knew where I was going, so I didn't really like have to go. And it worked out pretty nice. Like I mean, I've lived a great life. My parents are the best people on the earth.
Yeah.
As they're still my roommates. I let them stay upstairs in their own house, and
Yeah.
so I just take the basement, which is pretty fun. But yeah, so it started there, and kind of ever since, you just like, I mean, the only person that's going to get it done is you. So I'm not waiting for any handouts. You just kind of go and work your tail off and see where it puts you. Has kind of always been my mindset. I mean, I'm always a big fan of getting in the gym and getting stuff done. But what I've noticed once I started caddying full time, kind of in 2020 on PGA Tour, where like didn't feel like I had to have another like job, like being an assistant pro, and I started working at a course, just giving lessons. So whenever anybody wanted a lesson, because obviously I'm
Yeah.
a Class A professional, so
Right.
started playing a few events, like making a little money that way. It's not that I need to make the money, but I like playing in events because I think it helps me do my job better.
Yeah.
Back to the point of me like thinking that these guys are like robots and they can hit like every shot. It's like, hey,
Yeah.
just hit a fade, but like, hey, they might have been able to hit a fade on like hole 7 into
Yeah.
that pin, but maybe at my hole 14 they're not feeling very good. Like I know I feel that way. They're
Right.
better than I am, but like I'm
Yeah.
not comparing myself to them. But like sometimes you're just not feeling it, and you go through different feels throughout the round of through a course of golf, where and so I think it's nice that I play and stay active and
Yeah.
keep my game as sharp as I can, as close as I can to them,
Right.
so that I understand how it's going. But yeah, so I started doing that, and I was like, okay, this money's fine, and just I was like having a lot of downtime at home, and I'm like not one of those people to just sit still. I'm like, I want to stay moving. I like get up
ADHD
at
right here, brother.
6.
I feel you.
I get up at 6, and I'm like, all right, I'm going until my gas tank's empty, and that's usually around like 9:30, and I'm passing out.
Yeah.
So my buddy asked me, he goes, hey, we're starting this clothing brand. Like, do you want to get in on it? I'm like, perfect, that's fun. So
Yeah.
we started ordering some clothes. We like set up a shop in his laundry room down in his basement, and then like we started doing Shopify. Like he's an older guy. He's like more of a friend of my parents.
Right.
He's got like a 18 and like a 19-year-old at home. So like I think he's like 45, 48.
Yeah.
Then he had 2 other buddies, and we're like, yeah, let's do this. So I've kind of been like like getting our Instagram going and like, hey, like we should have like one password for everything so we all can get into this. And these guys are like, that's such a smart idea. I'm like, it's like I'm working with some dinosaurs sometimes, but it's so fun. Like, I mean, Nick is like, we have so much fun. So I'll even
Yeah.
call him on the road sometimes, and I'll be like, hey, dude, can you send me like 8 hoodies? I need to pass them on to a couple caddies. This pro
Yeah.
wants one, like, and it's been really fun. And I've never been on that side. It's another venture. It's something to keep me busy and another thing to keep my mind maybe off golf when sometimes you get a little burnout when you've been out there for 8 weeks in a row. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
sweet, I got 2 weeks at home. Like, I'm gonna take a couple days to myself and then start doing some slack ties. So slack ties been really fun. We're starting to get like we actually have money in the bank now, which is fun.
Love that, man.
So
Congratulations.
yeah, it's been good doing a bunch of fun things with them, like designing hats. It's like, oh, I like this. I like this logo. I like this logo. This logo sucks. Let's take this one out and
Dude, the
getting
hats are
everybody
fucking sick. I love them.
get
I can't wait to get my stuff. Like I said, my mom is a awesome customer. She was very happy with the purchase. So make sure you check it out, Slacktide Apparel. The hats are awesome. Like I said, we've got some good feedback from some of the other caddies. So obviously you're doing the right things. That's awesome, man. You're a grinder, and I love to see it. Like I said, I love that thing when I started doing this thing with the caddies. Like I was just like, honestly, when you messaged me, I was like, a lot of these guys have their own businesses, and I'm cool giving you guys whatever platform you want. These conversations are as cool for me from a golf fan perspective. So happy we're able
yeah
to shed some light on that, man. And it's cool. Like I said, I really love what you guys are doing. I being a lake person from the Midwest, right? It's a great fit, similar to how you guys have the lake life in Wisconsin. We have it here in Michigan, so it's awesome. You guys
yeah
do some really
it's
good
great.
stuff.
You guys are like second best in Michigan to us in Wisconsin. It's great.
Yes,
Minnesota calls themselves the land of the lakes, and we have more and better ones than they do.
yeah.
So it's fun.
It's
But it's like it's so fun because caddying's such a weird job because we're
yeah,
weeks on, weeks off. So we're usually working like call it 25 to 35 weeks unless your player's really, really, really good, where you only want
right,
to play like 20 weeks. So I mean, you got those extra like, call it 20 weeks in there where you want you want something to do or a different way to have a little steadier income or whatever you want to, whatever you can do. If you're like, I'm a single guy, I'm not married, like
right,
I don't have any other money coming from anywhere, so it's all on me. And like,
yeah,
obviously, caddying, the money can fluctuate a lot. Like,
right, yeah,
you can go one week and you make 180 grand. Well, now you can make like 400 grand if you're
yeah,
doing an elevated event.
right.
You can make like 400 grand, or you could miss like 6 cuts in a row over the span of 2 months, and you're like, wow, dude, I just spent 6 weeks on the road and I made like
No money.
$1,500. You're like, who's living off that? Like,
Right,
it's not like you can just be like, oh, I'm gonna go spend this. That's easy, but
right.
so the slack tide's been pretty fun making that. And then I've kind of started to dabble into. I met a lady in an airport traveling this year in Mexico, and she goes, "Hey, like me and Ryan were sitting there talking to her, and Ryan got up. He was talking to his wife on the phone or something
Yeah.
like that. And she goes, "Is he like hurting?" And I'm like, "Yeah, his back's kind of hurting. His hip's been hurting earlier this year." And she goes, "Can I tell you something?" I'm like, "Sure." She goes, "I was just down here with like 400 people, and we have these things called life wave stem cell patches." I'm what are you talking about? And I've heard of stem cells, like getting the
Yeah.
injection. She goes, well,
Right.
you wear this patch, like you can wear this patch, and like what it does is it activates your stem cells. And I was like, okay. And she handed me some, and I'm like, this is. She's like, here, try this for a month. And I'm a big skier, huge skier.
Yeah.
So in the winter, I never come home from January, from basically Christmas to the Masters week. And
Yeah.
every off week that I have in there, or every week that we don't play, so whatever week I'm not working, I head out west and I go skiing with some of my buddies that
Oh
are
yeah,
out there, or I'll just go by myself, like whatever. I
dude. Yeah.
love skiing.
I'm a big skier
So
also.
I went out. Where do you like to ski?
Usually I'm up north of Michigan, but I've been to Denver a couple times. Different out west is different than we have
Oh
here in
yeah,
the Midwest.
west is different. Then
Yeah.
the further west you go, the crazier it gets.
Yeah.
Like Jackson Hole, Snowbird, it's great. I
Yeah.
love those places. Um, so I went to my buddy's house in Park City and I stayed there. And my whoop told me I was like 20, 30% when I didn't have the patches on because
Yeah.
I'd ski all day, 8:30 to 4, eat some dinner, go to bed, do it again.
Right.
Then I started wearing these patches, and like 3 weeks later, I'm at the same guy's house doing the same skiing, and I'm like, and I looked at my whoop, and my whoop was like, you're at like 56%, 60%. I'm like, what is going on here? Like, I didn't change anything about my
Right.
day, and all I did was wear these patches. So I like I called her up and I'm like, hey, this is what's going on. Like, are these patches like Red Bull for my stem cells? And obviously your stem cells are regenerating everything like going on. And she's like, I've never heard of it like that, but yeah, kind of. So like basically when you turn 30, some of your stem cells start going dormant.
Yeah.
So these patches usually heat off your body to kind of get your stem cells regenerated. And like I've had back problems. I've kind of had some chronic back stuff with like caddying obviously isn't
Yeah.
great for your back, carrying a 50-pound bag for 7-8 miles a day.
Right.
So I've started wearing these things and I've had them on for like 6-8 months now. And I'm like, dude, I want to start like, she's like, you should start selling these. And I'm like, all right, perfect. I'll do it. So I signed up and I've been wearing them. And I mean, dude, I wear one every day. It's $3 a day. Costs you $3 a day to wear one. And I'm just
Yeah.
like, I don't drink coffee. Like, yeah, I am the most alert. I don't have to take a nap. It's like great. And I've worn them now for like 2, 3, 4 months. Like the other day, probably a month ago, I
Yeah.
forgot to put one on and like I was like, holy cow, I feel so tired. I like took a nap at like 2:30. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is strange. Like, what is going on? Like, I don't feel them when they're on.
Yeah.
But like when I didn't have it on, I'm like, holy cow. And like my sleep's been better. My like alertness has been better. It's like
Yeah.
it's amazing. My back pain's gone away. I'm like healing faster. Like kind of hurt my hand earlier this year golfing. Like it's been wild. So I started doing these things called LifeWave patches. So if anybody wants to try them, give me a call.
Yeah.
Find me on
Well,
Instagram, Gogs88. That's probably the easiest way to reach me.
yeah, I was gonna say we'll link Austin's Instagram in the description if you guys want it. Obviously, just shoot him a follow, shoot him a message. Obviously, very responsive considering that's the best way to get a hold of him. But we'll make sure we link that in the description if that's something you guys are interested in. I know I deal with back pain as somebody who's a golfer, and I obviously
We're
would.
gonna have to get you some.
Yeah, I was
We're
gonna
gonna have to
say,
get
man,
you
you might
some.
have to send me some because I like. As soon as I got to 30, like the last 2 years, it's just like, oh my god. And I do drink a shit ton of coffee. So I definitely would have to.
I just have never. I just have never. I just like. I just use that as like a payment. Like people are
Yeah,
like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go to Starbucks. Like
yeah,
they're like that's $7 a day.
yeah.
When you cut back on 2 Starbucks, you're basically
Right,
paying for your week of, or
right,
3 Starbucks, you're basically paying for your week of stem cells if you want them. So
right.
it's been crazy, and some of the research that the lady, her name's Carrie Roberson. She met her in the airport. I mean, she was in healthcare and she got out and started like doing this full time, and so I was like,
Yeah.
all right, perfect, let's try that. So
Oh yeah,
it's
man.
been fun. I mean, I've had a couple people buy some, and they're all very happy. I mean, I've given them to my mom and
Yeah,
stuff like that. Like the older people are like cutting down on a lot of the medication they have to take, which is
yeah.
good. I mean, they're saving them money with in terms of meds and stuff like that. So it's been good.
Hell yeah, man. Love to see you grinding.
I'm just addicted to being healthy. I love it. Like
Dude,
I'll
I'm.
eat whatever I want, but work out all the
Yeah,
time, staying active, golfing, skiing,
yeah.
wake
Same.
surfing. It's
Yeah,
easy.
I grew up playing a lot of sports. I like to do obviously golf. Grew up playing hockey. I mean, if you're a Wisconsin or Minnesota guy, Midwest guy, obviously hockey is a big sport. Yeah, I love to stay active. Get back in the gym. Lifetime. We did F45 for a while, like the high intensity interval training. I love that, but I'm getting back into more lifting, trying to do some more flexibility stuff, some more yoga stuff to keep the back healthy. Obviously, I'm not huge into powerlifting anymore. I'm not 20. I don't need a testosterone fuel. You know, just I don't need to go. I don't need. I'm happy with the way I look. I don't need to get jacked. So I feel that though, man. I can respect it. I love your mindset of just be active, be healthy, be better than everyone else, and just gonna grind my ass off. Let's talk a little bit about the 3M week. So, for those who don't know,
Oh boy, which one?
the one where you were on your brother's bag. So last
Okay.
year, Feely, Alex, our first guest, Monday queued for the 3M. You were on the bag that week, and I believe, and I heard this in a story from another podcast, so I have to double check. I think it was your brother told the story, but I believe that was the week you were supposed to start with Ryan, and so you had to
Yeah.
go to him and say, "Hey, my brother Monday queued. I want to go caddy for my brother." So, walking me through that week with Alex and what that was like, and kind of the whole thing with Ryan. How it's a funny story now. How you're still working for him.
So the crazy part probably almost starts the week before
Okay.
in Tahoe. So I was out of a job. I had just gotten let go by Austin Smotherman. So I filled in for Sangamon Bay at Kentucky Then we missed the cut, and I'm sitting home, and like Sunday of Kentucky, so the week before, the Thursday, the 4 days before Tahoe, which
Yeah.
Tahoe is my favorite tournament. Like I called the pro there. Like I would never really chase out, but I would caddy for Helen Keller at the Tahoe tournament.
The Barracuda?
Like it's the best
Yeah.
tournament on the tour. I love the Barracuda. Like
Dude,
people
we've
make
had
fun of
like
me all
4
the time,
people say that.
but I love Tahoe.
Yeah.
Tahoe is like the coolest town. You get done, you go caddy, you jump in the lake, you make a little dinner, go find a little burrito spot, or like it is so easy living. Like it's right where I feel like I belong. Like I feel like I was meant to live there.
That's awesome.
So I love the Tahoe tournament. So Patrick Rogers messages me, and I had filled in for him a couple times before. He messages me, "Hey, do you want to work Tahoe for me?" Like I couldn't have said yes fast enough.
Yeah.
It was awesome. I already had a flight to go out there because I had my flights booked in advance and whatever. So I go out there, I caddy for Patrick Rogers. My brother's caddying for Eric Van Ryan. They're like probably 10 or 15 groups in front of us, twosomes on Sunday. Me and Patrick are in the last group. We're trying to win this golf tournament.
Yeah.
We're leading. We made bogey on 15 to like be like 3 points ahead. Akshay Bhatia made birdie on 16 and 18 in the group in front of us. We had to make birdie on 18 to win it outright. If we make par, we go into a playoff.
Yep.
We missed like a 10-footer maybe.
Yeah.
Like great playing coming down the stretch. Like it was hard little putt. Greens getting.
I remember that
out there. Like it was grind. We go to play a playoff, and I'm like, let's go get this guy. Drives it down the fairway in a divot. My brother's still out there. My brother's still out there watching us.
Yeah.
Because like 2 years before, I was out watching them when him and Eric won.
Yeah.
So it was like we were totally in different spots, and
that's awesome.
I mean, dude, it was wild. So he sees us, like we hit a bad shot at a divot, and then Akshay hit it up there to like 10 feet. Yeah. We chipped it to like 12 feet, missed. He had a 2-putt from 10 feet, and Akshay ended up winning. So my brother, after we hit like that bad shot, he sprints out of there because he was going to skip it if we won. Like he was going to celebrate with me. It's like, dude, let's catch. Like we were going to catch a red eye or go the next day, and I'm like, dude, you got to go. Like I didn't say anything, but he called me as soon as it was over. He's like, hey, dude, so sorry. And like, I had called him.
Yeah.
And he's like, dude, I'm sprinting into the airport now. I got to Sacramento Airport like maybe an hour or 45 minutes, but Sac Airport, the rental car situation sucks. Like you'll stand at the rental car place for like 20 minutes to a half hour before like a bus comes around to take you like a half a mile to the terminal. Yeah. Like it's the worst busing system from rental cars. Like it's so bad. Yeah. And I just did it again for Napa last week. Like it's so bad.
Yeah.
So it's fresh. I'm angry. Not angry,
but I get you.
So he gets there, gets on the flight, red eyes back to Minneapolis, goes home for like 20 minutes, showers, goes to the course. He said he hit like 6 or 8 range balls. Monday qualifies into the tournament.
I love that.
So I'm flying on Monday, just taking my time. Ryan was like, hey, why don't you play in like the opposite field pro-am on Tuesday? I was like, sure, I'll play. Like I do that. And my brother, like Ryan texts me on Tuesday after he finds out. He goes, hey, I just saw your brother Monday qualified into the 3M. And I'm like, yeah, wild couple days for us. And he goes, yeah. He goes, so like, are you, like, I understand. My agent's here, Derek. He's caddied for me before. Like, I understand if you want to caddy for him.
Yeah.
And I go, yeah, I mean, it'd probably be a pretty cool story, like once in a lifetime opportunity.
Right.
Like, I think that'd be really cool. And I'm like, basically turning down money at this point. Like, is my brother really going to make a cut at a PGA Tour event? His odds were probably like plus 2 million to make the cut. And Ryan's made like 250 or 300 cuts in his career. Right. I was like, Austin, you're an idiot. Like this could be a full-time job. But like, I mean, I kind of had to. It was so fun. But before I did that, they had paired Eric with my brother with Ryan because they thought I was caddying for Ryan. So they thought it was going to be Eric, my brother, and then me caddying for Ryan in the same group. And then it ended up, and I felt so bad because like Ryan then got put like at the back of the wave just because I was potentially going to caddy for him. And I was like, oh, I pray to God Ryan makes the cut. I was rooting. I've never rooted so hard for like another player in the group than I did for Ryan at 3M.
We,
I mean, I'd never worked for him before. He like wants me to start like
yeah,
filling in for him, and I'm just like,
right.
oh gosh. And like I know
That's,
Ryan's a nice guy, and then I felt bad that they
yeah,
like the tour moved him, and like oh, and then he hit it in the. We were finishing on 9 on the front 9, and like on hole 7, he hit it in this fairway bunker off the tee,
yeah.
and then he left it in the lip, and he made like bogey or double, and ended up missing the cut by like 1 or 2. I was
Oh
like,
no.
oh my goodness, it was brutal. And me and my brother, I mean, we had a great week. It
Yeah,
was so fun. We were laughing. I mean, we were on our 27th hole, which is 18 at 3M, which is that par
yeah,
5. So
yeah.
like second shot's over water. He pulls his tee shot, like it's in the fescue. He's like got a choke down on this hybrid, and I go, "You like 9 iron just punching out to the right?" He goes, "No, dude, we're 6 over par. We're missing this cut. I'm sending this ball up the green."
I
And
love that.
there's like probably like I don't know. There's probably like 80 or 100 people standing like around that area because there's
Yeah,
like 15 tee boxes right there, 18s there. Like it's kind of a busy little part of the course.
yeah,
And I'm like, dude, I don't like this. Like, I'm going to tell you right now, and I would usually not say that to anybody, but
right,
obviously it's my brother. And I'm like, dude,
right.
no, like, that's a bad idea. Like, I really like just pitching this out there and like hitting a wedge on the green. I
Yeah,
think you're going to make birdie. Like, you're rolling it today, which my brother's good.
yeah.
And so he goes, nah, dude, I can hit this on there. I'm like, dude, you have 250 yards to the flag,
Overall
and you're gonna
water.
hit a hybrid
Yeah,
over water out of fescue, like
yeah,
with like not a good stance. Like the lie was fine. And he
yeah.
goes, dude, I can hit this on there. This hybrid goes far. And I'm like, well, I'm not gonna say anything. He already had a hybrid out of the bag at that point. I'm like, all right, well, here we go.
Yeah.
And he hits this thing and it like barely covers on the front edge, goes to like 60 feet. We get up to the green, he makes this putt like up this tier, left to righter, and curls it in for eagle. And I'm like,
Oh yeah.
oh my god, I'm the worst caddy ever. No, I'm just kidding, but that's just stuff he's been doing his whole life. He's such a pissant. But he's made some bold calls, and some of them have worked out. But that's just how he lives. Like my dad always kind of taught us that there's two types of people in this world: ones that hovered over the gas and ones that hovered over the brake. And my brother is full on
Full
gas,
gas.
both feet over the gas pedal.
Love
Like
it.
there's
Love it,
nothing
man.
he will not say. Like let's just send it. Let's just
Yeah.
send it. Just send it, dude. Just send it.
Full
Like all
send.
the time. That should be his. Like I'm scared if we go skiing ever again because I've gotten into it now
Yeah.
when we were younger. But if we go again, like he's told me himself, he's like, dude, I'm gonna want to send it and I'm gonna hurt myself. And I'm like, you probably will. You probably will. So
Oh, that's awesome,
but,
man. Well, good week for
yeah,
you guys.
yeah,
A
it was
little bit
pretty
about,
fun.
yeah, I mean,
Give us a little warm up to this year's U.S. Open sectional qualifier
sectionals. Nice,
finals. Yeah, U.S. Open finals qualifier.
nice,
So
nice. Well, let's talk a little bit about off course, man. I know you obviously like to spend a lot of time on the water. You're a big music guy. Let's just talk a little bit about what you like to do off the course, who some of your favorite artists are, and wherever this conversation takes us, it takes us. Then we'll get into rapid fires, then we'll get you out of here, my friend. Thank you for the time today.
yeah, easy. So in the summer, I can't talk as good as I can about my friends. Like my friends are phenomenal.
Yeah,
Like obviously I'm gone for 2 3 weeks and like I come home on like a Sunday and then it's like they'll get me on like Wednesday. They're like, Gogs, what are we doing this weekend? Like it'll be so fun. Like
yeah,
my buddies Lars, Max, my brother-in-law Tyler. We have we have so much fun. There's a good group of them golfing. Lars doesn't like golf because it takes away from his time on the lake. So he's usually whose boat I'm out on. He's
nice.
great. So we have a great time. But yeah, I've gotten into wake surfing the last 3 4 years, last 3 4 summers. It's been great where you kind of surf behind the boat
Yeah,
and just it's like it's probably like the best vibe off of a golf course that you can have. Like if you think about going out like in like an eightsome with your buddies,
yeah,
like and maybe just playing like 4 or 5 holes with like music blaring, like I don't really drink, but like all my buddies like having a beer or two. Like
yeah,
if you can imagine that vibe, like playing in the eightsome, just hanging out,
yeah,
that's like every time you go wake surfing.
yeah. That's awesome.
Except for you usually have like some hot chicks on the boat, whether
Yeah,
they're like, I mean, it's so fun.
yeah,
So like, I love surfing. I got my friend Jess and my friend Autumn. We always go on my friend Jess's boat too. I mean, they're great. Autumn's kind of taught me she was always better than when I started. So she kind of started teaching me. Her and Lars probably taught
Yeah.
me a little bit, and now I've gotten to the point where like I can kind of teach newer people to do it. My trick right now that I'm trying to learn is I'm trying to learn how to do a 360, but that's been
Yeah.
going on for like a summer,
Yeah.
and I just can't land it. But it's been fun, and I was never a lake guy growing up. I mean, we never like were rich enough to have a boat or
Yeah.
like.
Right.
I mean, I got friends that have them now, but like, yeah, I love being on the water. I call it nature's coffee.
It's the best, man.
Yeah, whether you're in Tahoe, but just like you can't beat it. You got music blaring, so
Yeah.
I usually for Jess's boat, she usually has me make a couple playlists. So I got like 3 or 4 each summer that I make, and
Nice.
I'm kind of the DJ for Jess's boat. Lars keeps a pretty locked down on like his same like 10 or 15 Rufus to Soul or like
Oh, nice.
some other songs. So that's you know what you're getting when you go with Lars. Is pretty
Yeah.
good. So we play some country and it's good. But yeah, we just got done like a couple weeks ago. We did like a surf crawl. So we took like I think we had like 4 or 5 boats and we surfed from bar to bar to bar to bar around the lake.
That's sick.
And so like we do some barreling and like
Yeah.
it's a blast. I don't know. I
Dude.
can't say enough good things about it. It's just like I'm totally amateur at it. Like once
Yeah.
you get older in life, I think it's hard to find things that you can do without hurting yourself. Like
Yeah.
you're not going to start like playing basketball at the age of 33. Like I
Right.
love playing
Right.
basketball, but it's more
Right.
of like you're going to learn how to play golf, and it's like I kind of already like know how.
Yeah.
So like what else is there? And like wake surfing was kind of that for me
Yeah.
like 4 or 5 years ago, and like I never like I had skied before in the winters, which is what I do a ton now. Like
Yeah.
my winters are probably the most fun winters that anybody's ever heard of. I'm either in like a 75 degrees, 80-degree climate caddying, like at some
Yeah.
of the coolest places in the world, whether it be like San Diego, Palm Springs, Waste
Yeah.
Management, like Riviera,
Yeah.
like Pebble Beach. Weather's not usually great there, but
Yeah.
it's still a sweet place to be. And then it's like, Gogs, what are you doing next week? It's like, oh, I'm gonna go to Jackson Hole for 5 days, go skiing.
Yeah.
See you guys at Waste Management. And like people are like, dude, unbelievable.
Yeah.
And like some of them are going, like my brother's going back to Minnesota and like sitting in the slushy, rainy snow for just terribleness. And I'm
Yeah.
like, well,
We'll have to
all right,
link up and
whatever.
ski sometime in the wintertime, man. I know we
For
obviously
sure,
want to
I'm
link up
in.
and play some golf.
Let's make some turns. Let's play
Dude.
golf. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of what my winters are. My summers are wake surfing. My winters are that, and my summers I love playing golf. Played a golf tournament with 3 of my buddies yesterday. A little
Yeah.
pro-am here, Wisconsin section. I'm playing another one Thursday, Friday, and just got invited to another one next Friday. Going on a boys trip the
Busy
following.
guy. The single life,
Yeah,
man.
following Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So
Nice.
yeah, I mean, I'm so lucky with
Dude.
my friends that I have here at
Yeah.
home and what I'm able to do. It's really really fun.
Yeah, man. I know you talked about earlier, but for me, like, your parents, like, it sounds like your parents did a really good job raising you guys. I mean, for me, my parents are my number one fans outside of my wife. They support me. My parents can't say enough good things about what they've done for me I wouldn't be the person I am today without them. And then same with my friends, right? You just have a really good support system around you. And I feel like no matter what you do in life, like that's most important. Like as long as you surround yourself with good people, that's generally a good thing. And I can't say enough good things about lake life. Obviously, like this summer, I only got to spend like 1 week. We usually try and spend like 3 weeks or like at least 3 or 4 trips up to northern Michigan. My fiance or my wife, excuse me, has some family up in the Traverse City area, which if you're from Michigan or in the Midwest, we like to spend a lot of time at Traverse City. I'm not a wake skier or surfer. I'm just not. I can't do it. I've tried. I've hurt myself too much. More of just kind of hang out on the boat and relax and play some golf up there. But yeah, man, there's nothing. You can't beat it. Like, I tell her all the time, like my father-in-law has a boat. I love it. There's nothing like being out and whatever lake you're on, it doesn't matter. I feel like everyone loves their own lake, right? Whatever, like just being a Midwest person. But dude, that's just like you said, it's the ultimate vibe of just being on the water. It really is the best. You can't be upset. I remember speaking of 8-man playoffs, I watched the 6-person. I don't know if you remember the 6-person playoff that Kisner won at the Wyndham that one year. I was watching that on the boat. Ironically enough, I remember that.
So good.
Yeah, Adam
Oh
Scott,
god,
the 6th man.
I feel for Adam Scott there.
Yeah, that was
I
brutal.
feel for Adam Scott there.
Um,
Yeah, I mean, like, my parents have given me like a platform to do a
yeah,
bunch, like to do whatever I want, which is so great. Like, I mean, I couldn't do any of what I'm doing without them. And then like you throw in like obviously there's hard weeks in any job, but you throw in maybe like a hard month or two or three
right,
in this job when maybe your player's not playing that great, and then you like you come home and like the perspective that I don't have a family and kids
right.
yet, but like the perspective that my parents can put it in. My dad was a very, very good golfer, played a couple tour events himself,
Oh,
like
really?
played in a
Oh,
senior major, like he's still a good player now at
yeah,
the age of 64. But like what my friends provide, like I mean you can't put a price tag on it. I've been kind of
right,
fighting like where I want to move to, whether I want to move to like Salt Lake City so I can ski a bunch. And
right,
obviously there's great golf there, or like Lake Tahoe, but I mean like that's really hard to afford. California, maybe not a great state to live for
yeah,
caddies in terms
right,
of that stuff. And so I mean, I always like, all right, well, why don't I just get a house in Lake Geneva so I can like just be around my friends, and like
right,
that's my huge draw for here. Like I'm so spoiled with
for
all
sure,
of them, and
for
it's good.
sure.
And my parents obviously can't talk enough good things about them.
Yeah. You don't. I meant to bring up. Are you a Rufus Del Sol guy? You don't really seem like a Rufus Del Sol type of guy.
I've gotten into it now that we've been on the boat.
Yeah.
Lars is a big fan, but like I don't know if you'd see me at a concert.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if I'd go out of my way to buy one, like buy a ticket to be there, but I can tell you, like, I've been to a few concerts that have been on tour, like Waste Management. Like, 2 of the last 3 years has had Kygo,
Hell
and
yeah,
that's
dude.
like that's
Big
probably my
Chicago fan.
second. That's probably my second or third favorite concert to go to.
Yeah,
Like, Kygo is amazing. I
I love
love his
Chicago.
music. Like,
So good, dude.
he's probably up there. He's definitely in my top three, if not
For
the
sure.
top one. I mean, then I've gone to two Post Malone concerts.
Hell
Post
yeah.
Malone concert at Alpine Valley was absolutely electric. Like
Nice.
with my friends, it was great. And then we've gone to like at Alpine Valley. Dave Matthews loves Alpine Valley, and I love that concert. I
Yeah.
don't listen to Dave a ton, like on my phone, like when I'm in the car or whether I'm going to a golf tournament or warming up. Or I mean, I'm listening to music all day.
Yeah. Same.
Like I don't know if I would put Dave Matthews in my headphones, but
Yeah.
like I would put Post Malone, I put Kygo, I put a
Yeah.
bunch of like I just love anything that's like upbeat. I love
Ivy. Same.
saxophone. I love the piano. I
Yeah.
love like
Same, dude.
anything that gives little happy vibes. Like I'm not gonna sit there and like want to cry on a rainy day, like Daniel Powder, Bad Day. Like it's not a bad song, but
Yeah.
like I'm not gonna listen to it. Like
Right.
don't ruin my vibe. But like Paul Russell, very positive guy. Like I like him. He's
Yeah.
been good. Like Shabuzi's new song is great. Like
Love that, dude.
love that
Yeah,
guy.
it's
I
awesome.
mean, I say new song. I mean, the song's been out all summer, but
Yeah.
like something like that. Up like Kygo's the same way, very
What,
upbeat.
what's your favorite
Love
Kygo song?
Kygo. I mean, right now I've loved Me Before You. Has been good.
That's a good one.
That's probably what I'm liking right now. I mean, all time. Goodness
I
gracious.
know. I didn't mean to put you on the
What?
spot.
Yeah. I mean, that's.
I used to
I
vibe with
mean,
Stay in College. That was one of my favorites of all time. I used to part of that song all the time when I was in college. It's one of my favorites of all time.
I've never been like a guy that has like songs
Yeah.
like this is like all time favorite song. Like I love the song "I Need a Dollar"
Hmm.
by Alo Black. Like that's like one of my favorite songs. Like sticks in my head. Like if I
Yeah.
started MySpace, that would be my song that's on there.
Yeah.
That's great. But like I kind of go through stages. Like in the summer, I'm kind of like I'm a big like kind of more country like
Yeah. Same.
summery kind of vibes. Like Nico Moon, Morgan Wallen.
Zach Bryan. There's Zach Bryan
Who
guy.
else? See, like Zach Bryan's a little slow for me.
Fair
People
enough.
like ooh and ah over like Zach Bryan. Like
Yeah.
I won't put him like I don't put him
Fair
on.
enough.
Like Zach Brown, Zach Brown band,
I
a
do
little
like.
bit more upbeat, little
Yeah.
beachy. Like Zach Brown loves Slack Tide.
Yeah. Hell
He
yeah,
just doesn't. He just doesn't know it yet. He just doesn't know it yet. We're not big enough yet for him. But like no, that's kind of like the vibe. Like I mean, I
Yeah.
love Jimmy Buffett. Like Jack Johnson back in the day was great. Dave Matthews in the summer, that's great.
Yeah.
And then winter kind of comes along, do a little bit more Post Malone, a little bit
Yeah.
more stuff to ski to. Like you'd listen to artists that you don't even really know. But like I don't even know them, but I'll get it on my feed with Spotify. I think
Yeah.
Spotify is like the greatest $18 a month I pay for my family to have Spotify
Yeah.
because we do the family plan.
Yeah.
Like
Absolutely.
I think that's like the greatest $18 a month I spend because
Yeah.
I listen to it like 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
So that's probably where I don't know my music thing.
Yeah.
I just go in stages,
For sure.
find all this new songs and
Yeah. Well,
give it
thanks for
out.
sharing. Obviously, big Kygo fan. I love Kygo. It's one of, like you said, if not my. I just love his music. I love the upbeat. But
The first girl I caddied for, Casey Danielson, got me onto him. Like she loved him, and like I had heard their songs. She's
yeah,
like, "Do you know this guy?" And she loved him. So
yeah,
now I've become fairly I don't know. I guess some people like some of my friends at least like my playlist that I make. I make a skiing soundgasm one every winter, and then a surfs up one every summer. So then
nice.
there's a couple like there's a classics playlist in
Yeah,
there, and there's a country swaying playlist in there, and I don't know. So
for sure. Well,
if you need any, go
I
ahead.
did
You can check
find
my
you on
Spotify.
Spotify. I did
You
look
did
into
anything
the winter time.
anything good?
I didn't
The
actually.
classic
I didn't look
the
into them.
classics one has been electric. I just tried to make a playlist that if you hit shuffle on there,
Yeah.
that you're gonna know the song like at our age.
Okay.
Like it's gonna be a fun one. So
I'll have
it's
to
like
check it out. I'll have to check it out. Well,
you can put me to the test. You can blast me if you want.
I
Like go
will.
ahead, just hit shuffle, see what songs comes on. And
All
like
right.
if you don't tap your toe or like bob your head
Yeah.
or like get your knee going, then I failed. So
Fair
you
enough.
just let me know.
I will let you know. All right, let's do some rapid fires. Let's get you out of here. We've already kept you for far too long. I appreciate it. Let's start with what's in the bag. Obviously, you're a very good player. What kind of clubs do you play?
What kind of clubs do I play? I grew up playing a lot of TaylorMade stuff. Right now, I got a mixed bag. I mean, it is pretty wild. I got some wedges that Titleist made my brother when he qualified for the 3M in a 60 and a 56. Callaway just made me a new putter,
Sick.
and this is last week Wednesday. They made me a new putter, the Jailbird Mini Arm Lock, which I've used now in one tournament. But before that, for 11 years, I used a Ghost Manta Arm Lock.
Wow. Okay.
But like unglued. So
Yeah.
like I was so sad. I had to try to find a putter for the State Open this year. I putted so bad. I'm so particular with my
yeah.
putting. So I'm trying this Jailbird out. She's gonna make another run on Thursday to another tournament. So
Nice.
we'll see. We'll see if she behaves for these next 2 days.
Nice.
So I got two Titleist wedges for my brother, the 60 and the 55.
Yeah.
I have one of Patrick Rogers' old 51 degrees. I have some irons that I bought from a Club Pro TaylorMade guy from 2013. You know, the ones with the nut on the back that
yeah.
Daniel Berger plays.
The MC ones.
So
Those are a classic.
yeah, so I play the MB pitching wedge through 6-iron. Then I have the MC in the 4 and the 5-iron.
Dude, those are some of the best irons I ever made.
Callaway made a hybrid for not Austin Smotherman, for Ryan Moore that he didn't like. He didn't hit it like high enough. So
Yeah.
I'm using his hybrid that he didn't like. I have a 3-wood head that went too far left for Austin Smotherman, and he hits a draw, and I hit a fade. So I have that head in one of my old Rocket Ball Stage 2 shafts.
Dude.
The grip's like deteriorating on it. I actually just got it regripped like 2 weeks ago. And then I have what do I have? I have a Callaway AI smoke with driver, but like a driver for me, like if it lasts like 5 months, that would be really good. Like it's so hard for me to find a good driver. Like,
I feel that.
I played great with the R1. I'm a terrible driver of the golf ball. It's probably the reason. It's not probably like it is the reason that I'm not playing on tour.
Yeah.
Like I cannot hit it in play. I swear, if I played from like when Ryan's ball was like 275 to 300 in the middle of the fairway on like every hole, like golf would be so much easier.
Yeah.
Like it would be so much easier. So
I feel that, dude. You got so you just grab a bunch of your old pros clubs and just throw them in the hot box.
I mean, that's pretty much what I got. I've been telling myself I really need to go to like TaylorMade and Callaway and kind of get fit and see what's next for me. But It's like I'm wake surfing and skiing. Like, don't like
Right.
my perspective changed. Like this might go like to the heart. Like probably like a year ago. Like I've always been a golf guy. I've been
Yeah.
addicted to golf. It's like over COVID, I played like a million rounds. I was playing like 30 holes a day.
Yeah.
Like our course was open here in Wisconsin. Like the world was shut down. We were open. It was like the best 2 months of my life. Like I was chipping in the front yard.
Yeah.
We'd go and play golf. Everybody had their own cart. You just left your bag on that cart. Use the same cart. Like totally safe. Like
Yeah.
I played so much golf, and then like I just got kind of like I wouldn't say burnt out on it, but I was just like I want to try to get better at something. So I found skiing in the winter, and I found surfing in the summer, and now it's like something that kind of challenges me. I've always liked kind of games and puzzles
Yeah.
and stuff like that, and that's kind of what it is, staying active with
Yeah.
wake surfing and what's it called, and I love it still, so
For
it's
sure.
good.
For sure. Well, speaking of like grinding, what is your lowest golf round? Doesn't have to be a tournament, could be just in general, but I'm curious.
I've shot 8 under at the course that I'm in the pro at now at Goldeneye. That was 63.
Wow.
I finished so bad. I had a 10 under through 15, and I bogeyed the 16 and 17. 16 is a really hard hole. Like,
Yeah.
it's okay to bogey that hole. Like, I mean, but I was on a heater, and then I bogeyed 17, which was terrible.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I had a chance for 59 that day.
Damn.
But I shot 63 there. Then I shot 63 at Lake Geneva Country Club, which is like one of my favorite places. And I was playing with like three of my buddies in like this money match. We were kind of playing for like a lot of money,
Yeah.
which was fun. And like my buddy shot like I still have the scorecard, so I give him shit all the time. I'm like, dude, I shot 63, and we were playing for like a lot of money, and then we
Yeah.
only won like $12. I'm like, you realize how bad you have to play for you and I to lose, like only win $12, and I shot 63. And so like it's pretty funny. My buddy James, and it's those I shot 63 twice, which is my lowest
Okay.
number to par. So
Okay. What's your favorite course? Doesn't have to be on tour, but what's your favorite course to play?
favorite course to play? Wow. If I were to give you a top three, I would give you Old Greenwood, which is the course that the tour plays in Tahoe because
Okay.
it's the best
Yeah.
tournament ever, the Barracuda.
Yeah.
Castle Pines, Casey's uncle.
In Denver?
Casey's the girl I caddied for. Yeah, her uncle is a member there, and we played
Nice.
there, and I just like it was amazing. And then a tie for third would be Strawberry Creek in Kenosha.
Dude,
Like
I asked you about that. Place looks sick right off the highway. This place looks
yeah, it's like right off the highway in Kenosha, which isn't like a great town.
Yeah.
But the greenskeeper there, his name's Matt Kriegel. Like I tell the members every time I play there, I'm like, whatever you guys are paying him, it's not enough because the course is in like perfect shape.
Yeah.
Perfect shape.
Yeah.
Like every time I go there, the greens run great, and
Yeah.
it's like I'm like, this is amazing. Like
Yeah.
I never, like I can tell you, I've never gone. The members are
awesome.
great. Like I know a great amount of members that are there. Like they're all awesome people.
Yeah.
So fun. But that course, and then there's a place we played in college called Teton Springs. And like that was probably my first taste of like altitude mountain golf.
Yeah.
And I thought that was pretty good. But as you can see with my top three out of four, whatever, like mountain golf is just like you can't beat it for me.
Elevation.
Like I love it. Some people get all jacked up about links golf, but like give me some stuff through the trees with some mountains in the back.
Yeah.
And Old Greenwood's got the North Star ski hill
Right.
off like their normal 16th hole, and it's just like how do you beat this? Like you just can't beat it in my eyes. Like
Right.
I don't think any of the courses are going to get like rated like the world's best, but
Right.
I just love like the feeling that I get when I'm out there. Like the air's clean, it's healthy, and that's why I put it in my top three.
I feel that. How many hole ones do you have?
I got 3.5.
3.5. Yes, I remember you posted this. I'm curious. How do you have a half a hole in one?
So a half a hole in one. 3 of them. One of them I had in tournament. One of them I had in a money game, like playing 18 holes. Another one I had at my buddy's like day before his wedding.
Yeah.
Had one when we were like all the wedding party was like playing together, like 8 or 10 of us. So the other one, I was the assistant pro at Blackhawk Country Club, and I was like, it was junior fun day, so I'm wearing like a Hawaiian lei, like a t-shirt, some board shorts, and
Yeah.
like my hat's on backwards, like having fun with the kids. And I was a celebrity pro on the fifth hole, the par three, down this hill over some water. And so what the kids do is they can hand me a club and their ball, and I hit their tee shot for them. So I'm like, all right, perfect. So like the pro's daughter, she was like 7 or 8 at the time, comes up to me. She goes, "Hey, here's a ball," and she gives me a ball and like her 7 iron. I mean, her 7 iron didn't come up to my knee, so I'm like way hunched over. I mean, I'm 6'7", I'm a pretty tall
Yeah.
guy, and I'm hunched over, and I hit this thing from like 120, hit this little cutter, lands like 10 feet behind it, and rips back like into the hole, and it goes in, and I'm going like nuts. I'm like, oh my god! I like threw her club in the air, like total Chesson Hadley, like going nuts.
Yeah.
And she looks at me and she goes, "Thanks for making me a hole in one," and just like walks like it was normal, like it was just something I did like every day. And the crazy part about it, like, yeah, that was probably my best shot, but I don't know if it was.
Yeah.
There was this kid that came like in the second group. She was like the fifth group.
Yeah.
This kid that came like in the second group handed me a lefty 2-ball putter and like an orange Pinnacle golf ball, and I hit it to like 12 feet. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, that's so good! I'll never top that. And then like 25 minutes later, I make a hole in one with like our girls, like this little 7-year-old girl's junior 7.
That's awesome.
So that's I give that one a half. My brother said it doesn't count, so I just give it a half, and
Fair
it's
enough.
usually a pretty good story.
It seems like it's a half for me. I'll give you credit for that. I mean, I have 0, so it's better. I'd take a fucking half, all in one, honestly. It's better than 0. All right, last one, then we'll get you out of here. Caddy role model. Do you have one?
Caddy role model. In terms of like I don't know if I'd say like role model, but probably like a caddy, like an older caddy that's kind of taken me under his wing.
Yeah.
I would say is Paul Tesori.
Dude, I've asked that question to every caddy I've had on here. Every caddy has said Paul Tesori. It's wild, and I think it's hilarious, but it's funny.
He's just a wise sage, and like, but it's kind of it's easy to look up for him because he did such a good job of having freedom with Webb. Like if you look at our age, like, you know, I think what did Webb win in 2000? When did he win Olympic? Like
2012.
2009?
2012. Yeah.
Like 2012, I was like just in college. Like I wasn't even thinking about caddying. I was still thinking about playing. Like he won there. Once I got out here, I saw like how much freedom and their interaction, what they had, and like that's such a unique caddy player relationship that him and Webb had. That it was like amazing to see, and like reached out. But I mean, there's plenty of other guys in there, like Ricky Romano has always been. He's like, because I caddied that first week on tour with him.
Right.
We've always kind of had like that special connection. He's a great dude, like very nice guy, works hard, like kind of similar, kind of like was a little underdog, you know, caddying for his buddy Charlie Belgian, and working his way up to like some really nice players. Caddied for Nate Lashley for a bunch of years. They won
Detroit.
What did they win? Once or twice, maybe?
Detroit, my hometown event, baby. Rocket Mortgage Classic.
Yeah, then Ricky Romano. He's a Rocket Mortgage caddy. I mean, he won it again with Ricky Fowler.
Ricky. Yeah.
So, I mean, I would say Ricky's up there too. Ted Scott, I've reached out to him a couple times just about different things. I mean, he's always very nice to share some wisdom, but most of the guys are really good. Steve Hulka, when I was really young, caddying like Corn Ferry, he was caddying Corn Ferry for Dylan Meyer at the time. He was very good. I mean, he's a legend, like legend. I mean, he's caddied for like hundreds of people. Yeah, I mean, role model. I mean, I would love to be Ted Scott someday.
Yeah,
like,
same.
That would be sweet. The way he's doing it. I mean, I think Ted's been very successful for Green Jackets. Is like pretty easy to want to be a role model for.
Yeah,
like
makes a lot of money too.
That was what's up?
So it makes a lot of money too.
Money's all about money is just like you gotta have so much good fortune happens, have a great player, but but Paul I would say would probably be the one. Like if I got like if something happened and I got thrown in prison for a night, like if I could only call one caddy to come and pick me up. I feel like Paul would probably be if I couldn't call my brother.
Yeah,
If I
for
couldn't call
sure.
my brother, given I'm trying to pick somebody that's older, been out here for a while. Like me and my brother are kind of learning together, which is
Right.
really nice on the road. Where Paul kind of like I see him as more of like a father figure
Right.
out there in terms of what's it called, but it's pretty fun. I've seen Paul at some maybe not in his best moments, but I've also seen him like he's just a great dude. And if I
Yeah.
needed a call to get somebody to get me out of prison, I think he would he'd probably show up.
I love that. Follow the show, Paul. We'd love to have you on someday. Anyway, Austin, we're running. We've run way longer than I should have kept you, but that's our third episode, third instance of the Caddy Corner. I hope you guys enjoyed Austin. Great guest. I really enjoyed the conversation. I'll plug everything in the description, Slack Tide, all Austin socials. Make sure you guys check that out. Like I said, we'll plug the promo code GOGS15 to get 15% off Slack Tide if you want to check those guys out. Sponsoring today's video, Austin, thank you so much for joining us here in the Caddy Corner here on the Scratch Golf Show. Really, really excited to get this one out, man, and thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for having me. That was a lot of fun. Just edit out if I start rambling. That kind of happens. I sometimes when you caddy, you got to keep the
Good, man.
player going. You got to keep them off, keep them not thinking about golf. So I guess it's still on my
No,
list. I guess I'm still doing it.
you're good, man. I appreciate it. We're done. All good, man.
All right.
I appreciate it. Dude, thanks so much. So what I'm gonna do is I will probably get it like clipped up the next couple days. I want to try and get it out before the end of the week. Ideally. But it's just gonna depend on my work schedule. I do have unfortunately I don't do this,
There's no hustle. There's no like you don't have to be super fast with them.
Oh no, I need to get a video. My goal is to get a video a week out anyway. So I'll get it taken care of, man. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. If I need anything, I'll shoot you a text tomorrow, man. But this was awesome. Thanks so much.
Thanks, buddy.
All right, appreciate it. Have a good night.
You're the man. Peace.
Yep. Bye.
Hey, text me tomorrow too about your Slack type stuff.
I will. I'll shoot you a text in the morning, dude. Appreciate it. Bye.